Donald Trump has a new rival, and that would be Raphael Edward Ted Cruz. According to those Quinnipiac numbers, Cruz is surging in the Hawkeye state. He's sitting at 23% now, more than doubling his support since last month. He's in a statistical tie for first place with Trump, who's at 25. Ben Carson dropped 10 points to 18%, which begs the following question. With 2 months before Iowans caucus and with half a dozen candidates auditioning for the role of Trump slayer, who is in the best position to snare the part? Will it be Cruz, the feisty firebrand suddenly warning that, quote, tone matters when talking about immigration? Or Marco Rubio, the young and famously thirsty Floridian trying to out-Trump Trump on foreign policy? Or Chris Christie attempting to resurrect his brawler's image by smacking around President Obama and talking up his work as a federal prosecutor after 9/11? Or John Ellis Bush and his well-funded super PAC? Mark, that's only a few of the potential contestants in the Trump slayer dating game. Who will it be?
Impossible to know now. They all have strengths, but I think it's pretty clear that, while John Kasich's super PAC is going after Trump and Kasich is and some of his allies are, taking down Trump, which is the dynamic of this race now for the foreseeable future, is going to require a candidate who is a titan of strength, who can stand up to Trump on a range of issues and battle him day to day with good humor and needling, but also power. I'd say today, Ted Cruz, if you look at the map and the resources and the issue profile, Ted Cruz may be the guy who can slay him, even though so far they still remain on positive terms.
Well, look, I mean, Ted Cruz has been, I don't want to use the cliche playing possum, but he has been a little bit, right? First of all, he has his interest. He has an imperative. He must get rid of Donald Trump, or else he cannot be the Republican
nominee.
Of everybody else. Well, but he even in the lane theory, in order to be at the top of the anti-establishment lane, Cruz has to get rid of Trump and then deal with whoever the establishment lane champion is. So he's got a lot of incentive to do it, and I think you're right. He now has the momentum in Iowa. There's a theory, right, that if Trump loses one of these races, that's all it has to happen, and he will crumble. I don't know if that's true or not, but there's a theory around that he's been leading all year long. If he goes to the polls in Iowa, comes in second, comes in third, that could be the end. Poof.
Rubio has had significant advertising paid for by this shadowy group who doesn't disclose its donors on his behalf. There hasn't been that much advertising on behalf of Cruz. Cruz has been pummeled by Rubio and back and forth. Rubio has attacked Cruz more than Cruz has attacked Rubio, I believe, by most measures, and yet Cruz has risen. I think the undervalued people right now here are Christie and Bush. Well, I believe in the end, those two guys could have the potential to be the Trump slayer simply by virtue of the establishment saying, we need an establishment Trump slayer. They don't want Cruz much more than they want Trump. In some cases, less.
I half agree with you about that. The half I agree about is Christie, right? And I've been bearish on Christie ever since Bridgegate. But temperamentally, skills-wise, brawler's capacity, humor, toughness, he's the guy who can do it. John Ellis Bush, I think he's for this role, never going to be in this role. I mean, Trump has just incinerated him, has been in his head, has crippled him too much. Christie, though, possibly could be the guy.
Here's the thing. Christie's had no negative press for weeks.
I know.
Part of why he's doing well now is he's doing a good job, and he's reminding people why they liked him. But no one's talking negative about Chris Christie. Even Donald Trump really hasn't very much. There's plenty in the context of a Republican nomination fight. Bush has faced a lot of negativity. And I will still say, look, I was bullish on Cruz before you were. I was bullish on Christie's comeback before you are. I will trump you again by saying Jeb Bush can still have a comeback. It's not going to be easy. But when the establishment is looking for someone to stop Trump or Cruz, Bush and his super PAC money and his name brand could still be where they
But I will continue to respond to you by saying, in a theoretical universe, that is true. I do not deny the possibility of a Bush comeback, but nothing he has done has exhibited
How about his interview with us last week?
Not to take on Trump. Not to take on. He has not shown the candidate skills that are required. And I know you're not going to actually argue with me about that. Whereas Christie has lots of problems with the Republican nominating electorate, but he has the actual skills to take on Trump. We've seen Bush try to take Trump on in a number of debates, falling flat every time.
You probably think Charlie Brown's never going to kick that football.
That's exactly right. I'm with whoever the guy's holding the football.
The other person who could be the Trump player, the other question is Rubio. Does Marco Rubio, as young as he is, as much as he's not engaged in heavy contact with anybody at this point, except the light contact with Cruz, is he a potential Trump slayer in your view?
Look, I continue to think that in the Republican Party, look, Rubio's obviously got a lot as a profile on paper. Rubio's always looked like an incredibly strong potential Republican nominee. You look at Donald Trump. and you look at Marco Rubio and you try to put them in your head in a ring together and say, who's going to win that fight? It's just hard for me to muster the conviction that I would say Marco Rubio is the favorite in that battle.
Maybe. I'll say one thing he's got going for him. When Trump has gone after him, or when Trump said outrageous things and Rubio has been asked to comment, he laughs it off in a way that is genuine. A lot of people in dealing with Trump have tried to sort of laugh it off, but it's clear they've been saying
rattled.
Acting.
They've been rattled.
Acting.
Yeah.
Not necessarily rattled, but basically acting as kind of the staff says, I just laugh it off. Rubio actually laughs it off, and I think there's a certain strength there that if he becomes the potential Trump slayer, if the establishment turns to him, I think he may not be rattled, and he may be able to make light of Donald Trump in a way that could make him the Trump slayer without having to do a heavy hand, but with a light hand.
There's the whole question is whether I think that's a large part of this whole play that he's doing right now in terms of trying to appear like a candidate of strength on foreign policy. The question, I think, is do Republican voters buy that from a candidate who looks the way he does, who has so little experience? I just don't know if that's a sell that he's going to be able to make.
The party looks for a Trump slayer. They don't have one yet.